Hello, welcome back to Blender CC LiveENODING. In this episode, I'm going to do an improv on an older topic that I talked before. It's regarding vertex coloring. And we know that by now that we can do vertex coloring procedurally in a very easy way using Sverchok Add-On. The node that's responsible for that is the Vertex Color new. So this guy has been there for a while now, and we can pretty much take this for granted. You will see how I'll actually going to generate a cube and then make like a bunch of cubes and give it a random coloring to each cube. So yeah, so let's just get started. Create a box and let's give it some divisions, 3 by 3 by 3. And I'm gonna save this. So this is cube with random vertex color. Before we make like a lot of cubes with random color, we're just gonna do it for one cube. So I'm gonna generate a single cube. Looks like this, and perhaps gonna display the wire. Okay, so that's one Rubik's cube, and for this guy we can give it a material. We already switched it to cycle render, and if you actually generate a material using Sverchok, what will happen is Sverchok will create these connections for the cycle material with the attribute svcall, and this will read the vertex color data that Sverchok will be generating. So as you can see, we have the vertex, face, and loop mode. If you don't understand what each one does, give it a try, or you can read the code. Or there's also a really good tutorial by Oma. This is from Squircle art. There is one example here for animation nodes, vertex coloring, that you can read through, and it explains really well what's vertex coloring, polygon coloring, etc. And you can rebuild it using script node and nodes in animation nodes. The concept is very similar, but in Sverchok it's all already built into this node. Okay, so for this object, I'm gonna give it, for example, I can easily give it a random vertex color if I like. Switch this to material. Let's try like a random color. If I use random vector, it should actually works right away. So that's the vertex coloring, and there's a face coloring. Some of them are black because random vector give you like a, sometimes it give you like negative value. If you use the stethoscope app, you can see stethoscope nodes, you can see sometimes the value goes to minus. If you don't want the random vector, you can use like a random number generator, for example, and ask it to generate 3 numbers between 0 and 1. As a result, you're gonna get something like this. Maybe you want to have like some variation, so you can use range integer, for example, plug into this guy, and maybe count how many do we want, 5. So that's something that you can use into the color, if I'm not wrong. Maybe I need to join it again. Yeah, so seems to be working. We can of course randomize the start. So this is like the seed. So that's for the coloring. This is a random integers. The color is actually, is it the same for each one? That's weird. I was expecting it to have like a RGB color. Oh well, it should be a vector anyhow, don't worry too much about that. Let's do it like this. Random number generator. Let me try again. List float, and then use a vector in, because it's gonna be 3 value. Random, and plug this guy in like this. Let's make like a 3. I want to do this slightly differently from before. Seed, give it a random seeds, and this is gonna be RGB value, and let's see how many we're gonna have. Stethoscope. Let's try 1 first. So 1 number, it's gonna generate 1 random vector value. And then if we generate 3, it's gonna give 3 value. We can't really see, this is the value that we have, 3 vector value. And I think we can use list item, and here we actually gonna generate random number generator to pick from those 3 value. And here we can specify how many value we want. So I think this is a little bit better. The one I did earlier that doesn't work, actually it should generally work. I think I did it wrongly. I should do it like this, random number. So I'm gonna generate a bunch of 3 numbers, and I will randomize the seed using a random range integer, and plug this into the seed. So this is a bunch of random numbers, and I can use a list item here to basically pick the number. I need to list join it. Oh well, I think I did it wrong again, but anyway, don't worry about that. We're just gonna use this one. Okay, so this is like 3 numbers being generated on the fly, and it's being assigned into this Rubik's Cube. And we can randomize it further if we play around with the seed. So this corresponds for the RGB value. I think this is much easier to understand. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's see, maybe we can use we can try to generate a multiple Rubik's Cube now. So this actually works as it is right now, but what if we want like multiple objects and we want to give it a random color? So let's try doing that. Let me have a think. I think we can do it this way, use the matrix in, and plane. plug this into this guy, generate a bunch of them. Let's try 4 by 4, so we have 16. Let's check if we have actually 16 objects. We do have like 16 objects now, and I want to give it a random color for each one of them. So I think we can do it over here with the seed. Actually, let's try random or range integer, plug into the seed. Let's see if this is actually doing the job or not. 16, so it doesn't do it, doesn't seem to be doing it. Maybe because we need to maybe split the data here or repeat the data. Okay, there you go. That seems to be working nicely for us. Each one of them now have a random placement of the color, but it's still basically the same color. We just need to randomize the seed over here. So let's try. Let's copy this guy and plug this there. I have a feeling that this might not work unless we actually turn this into a monad. So just to simplify things, because currently, okay, we have 16 and then we're applying it to these objects. We can definitely simplify this and turn it into a monad that will work for us, but I think this is pretty good enough as a starter. Remember that this actually will work for any objects. Let's say if you have like Suzanne or any other objects, it's very easy to simply colorize the vertex color, or maybe turn it into like a loop. Loop is actually give you like a very nice, like a flowery kind of design. Yeah, I think this is pretty good for now. It's pretty interesting. Let me know what you think. Give me your comments. How I can improve this maybe, but anyway, thanks again for tuning in into this one, and I'll see you in the next video.